This week, we finally get to share the big news. We're getting a new RV, but it's not just any RV. We're designing it ourselves. This is RV Miles. Chances are you've seen them on the road. That's because Blue Ox designs and manufactures the best towing products in the industry. Just look around. You'll find them on highways, in campgrounds, and anywhere you find people traveling in the great outdoors. From award-winning tow bars and base plates to a full line of weight-distributing hitches, adjustable ball mounts, and now they have fifth-wheel hitches too. With Blue Ox, towing doesn't have to be a drag. Visit blueox.com for more information. Harvest Host is a membership that allows RVers to take a rest from the road and enjoy unlimited overnight stays at over 5,100 unique locations in North America, like breweries, farms, attractions, wineries, and much more. Easily plan and book your next RV trip and enjoy over $1,500 in exclusive member benefits by joining Harvest Host. Get 15% off your first year of membership with the code MILES. That's MILES. Go to harvesthost.com to become a Harvest Host member today. Welcome to episode number 345 of RV Miles. I'm Jason.
And I'm Abby. And we are two RVers who, along with our three boys, Jack, Ethan, and Henry, have been crisscrossing North America on one epic road trip since 2016. Here at RV Miles, we talk all things RV and outdoors, from industry news to travel destinations, our national parks, and a whole lot more.
This week, we have some really big news to share, as I teased in the intro. But before we get into that, I wanted to talk for a minute about something I just shared on the news, and that is that change in pricing for that annual camping pass in New Mexico has officially been enacted. So that New Mexico camping pass, which was such a great deal, is now $600. It was, I think, $225 for out-of-state residents or something like that. And now it's $600 for out-of-state residents. Plus, the thing used to be like you paid this fee and you got to camp at New Mexico campgrounds. It's not a required pass. This isn't the park entry. It's a benefit that most other states don't have. I didn't think any states have it, though. Somebody told me that Kansas actually has a annual camping pass as well. But what you would get for your $225 or less if you're an in-state resident was free camping at no hookup sites in New Mexico, which there are a decent amount of those. But you'd have to pay a $4 per night reservation fee. And then if you wanted an electric site, it was an additional $4. And if you wanted a sewer site, there are a few sewer sites in New Mexico state parks, not very many, but a few. It was like another additional $5. Well, now that pass is $600. The cost for an electric site is $10 on top of, whatever nightly fee. And then the sewer rate is $5. And then there's now an added water rate that's another $5. So it comes out to being, if you want to buy that annual camping pass, you have to camp for about 40 nights in New Mexico to make it break even, which is still, if you're going to camp for like a whole winter in New Mexico or something like we did one year and absolutely loved, it still could be worth it for you. But in general, the cost of camping has gone up in that state a lot. It's not ridiculous still, though. Like a regular night at a campground is going to cost you around the $35 range.
No, I have a lot of personal feelings about this because of what the camping pass allowed our family to be able to accomplish when we were first new on the road and we were struggling, small business owners with a theater business and starting a podcast or RV focused business, and the affordability that it allowed lower income families like ourselves to be able to access some really beautiful places and get to know New Mexico the way it did. A lot of our success and ability to thrive within those first year or two really was because of that camping pass. And I just wonder now, if we had tried to do this today, as opposed to back in 2016,
It'd be harder. It'd be harder.
I don't know that we would have been able
to
do it. I don't think we would have had the longevity. I don't think we would have had
we would have been doing a lot of monthly stays at private campgrounds.
We probably would have become Thousand Trails members. But there's nothing wrong with that. I don't even know if that would be able to make it. I think that our circumstance in 2016, 2017, and 2018 were such that if we were to take that today and put it into a 2024 RV world, we would not be here.
The camping costs have just, everybody knows, gone up just dramatically.
And that makes me sad because I know that prices out a lot of people. And from day one for us, this was before there was an RV Miles. This was about us being able to get on the road and see the road and be able to do that in a way that was accessible for us and met us at a level, and that there were places we could go that met us at that level that still gave us these opportunities to public lands. And that feels harder now. And I'm sad about that.
We probably would have gotten better at boondocking quicker. That's for sure. Because
we also maybe would have put more. Well, when I think about too, once the pandemic started and we had to close down Perform Inc., if I think we probably would have put more of ourselves into that between 2016 and 2020, because that was the income generating business at the time.
It was also, so we were in a situation when we started RVing, we were in our bus conversion, and bus conversions are often not allowed in a lot of commercial campgrounds. Some of them do, some of them don't. It's getting harder. And back then we went into them occasionally, but we spent 90% of our time in government run campgrounds, whether that's state parks or federal parks, or the occasional amount of boondocking that we did early on, though we didn't have a full water system. We needed electric to run our fridge. So we were running a generator pretty much full time if we boondocked. So we didn't do it much.
The good old days.
But I think, the makeup of our camping would have changed differently, and being in a bus conversion would have been a lot harder for us.
That said, 40 nights and you break even.
You break even. That doesn't mean like it's still, cheap.
It is, but it is still accessible in the world that we're in now. When you look at some other things, I mean, when you look at, there's, so many people are really upset about the LTVA. Is that what it is? Or I always get the acronym wrong, but the rise in that cost.
The rise in that cost as well.
And now, this is comparable to that.
And I want to make it really clear too, is that after those 40 nights, it's not like, oh, you broke even and you get to, after those 40 nights, then you're saving $15 a night is really what it comes down to. Yeah. So it takes a lot of time for it to be like a real moneymaker. That said, if anybody's interested in spending a decent amount of time in New Mexico next year, that pass is good for up to 12 months after the month that you purchased it. And so this price doesn't go up until January 1st, and you can still get the old price on the annual camping pass.
I have half a mind to just go buy it, just in case we find ourselves in New Mexico. I mean, we know we're going to be in New Mexico in the fall, and it is significantly cheaper for in-state residents, but the price went up for in-state residents as well. It's a $300 pass for in-state residents. So which is a great price if you are an in-state resident still, and it's worth supporting these parks. The money will go towards improvements in infrastructure and care for the parks. The money is not wasted. There's a lot of understanding as to why, but it's the last little piece for me personally that connects me to a time of camping that is very different than the one that we live in now.
New Mexico was such a wonderfully overlooked state where we felt like we just had access to everything.
Y'all keep overlooking it, okay? But also go.
But clearly the price increase shows that you haven't been overlooking it recently.
I think we've talked too much about it at this point, and a lot of other people as well. There's a lot of love, rightly deserved love for New Mexico across social media right now, across Instagram, and that's wonderful to see. But with that recognition and now everyone kind of knowing, of course, they're going to start paying a little bit more attention to, oh, there's more people camping here. So how can we kind of benefit from that?
All right. We've got a few other little things to talk about before we talk about
we're making everybody wait.
The big news. We do want to mention that our High Desert Hangout, this small meetup event that we're having in Utah in May. It's almost full of mile marker members. It's been on sale to mile marker members, and it's not full yet. They're probably the ones that want to go have booked. So we are going to have a few sites for people that aren't mile marker members available. But if you want to grab one, you should consider becoming a mile marker. You can grab one right now. Otherwise, it's going to go on to sale to everybody else January 6th.
January 6th. So the event is May 1st through the 4th in Colville, Utah, which is just outside of Park City. We are partnering with Rome Echo Island RV Resort out there. They're giving us a 20% discount on all of our sites. They're putting us all together, and we are just doing a very simple hangout. This is nothing like what we normally do with homecoming. So we're not going to be doing any catered meals. There's not going to be like any activities outside of the campground that are an additional cost. So we're keeping this really small.
It's a shorter weekend.
We're keeping the cost pretty low. It's $40 for mile marker members for the weekend, plus the cost of camping per night, $50 to the general public. That's going to include things like a swag bag, and we're going to have s'mores, and there'll be a t-shirt, and just little things to offset the cost. We don't make any money on these. We just break even. Like Jason said, it's already on sale to mile marker members. And really up until a couple days ago, we only had 2 sites left, but the campground was able to add some additional sites for us so that we could give some of the general public an opportunity as well to book. But if you want to become a mile marker member, we've got a free 1-month trial happening right now. You just go over to rvmiles.com/mile markers. All the information is there. You can join for a month. You can see what this is all about. You can come join a live with us. You can watch us as we finish up fantasy football for the year, which includes Jason and I getting absolutely destroyed. I didn't even make it into consolation games this year. You did. You didn't make it into the playoffs, but you made it into the yay, we're all winners game.
Last week, I was in second place. I had a terrible start to the season, and then I started doing really good and clawed my way back up, and I was in second place last week. And all of a sudden, just the way that the games turned out this week and the loss that I took to Justin this week, I came in 5th place, which takes me out of the playoffs.
Yeah. So that's happening over there too. Lots of really fun things. We would love to have you come join us. This is a limited time offer. It'll probably go away at the beginning of the year. So go take advantage of it now. rvmiles.com/mile markers. Mile marker members always get early bird access and a little bit of a discount to any events that we hold. So rvmiles.com/mile markers or rvmiles.com/hangout Utah to learn more about our event May 1st through the 4th.
All right. Well, we've waited long enough to talk about this.
It's time.
We have, for a long time talked about, okay, after we got back from Alaska, we've been in this very small 25-foot travel trailer that was fantastic. Our little Ibex got us all the way across the Pacific coast, and it was fantastic. It was great for that moment in our lives. Towards the end there, it was just too tight for us. We did it, and it would be great for just the occasional camping. Our kids are big. Jack is 6'5".
In case you don't know that by now, because I think we mentioned that every episode.
And in that space, we just had sleeping space. We turned the dinette permanently into a bed for Ethan, and then Henry, because there was arguments over people stepping on beds and stuff.
Yes.
But we didn't have an eating spot. We didn't have a sitting spot. It was a place to sleep and cook. And we spent time outside or laid in bed.
Cook, with like, look, I'm making air quotes with cook because
And
there
a- and
wasn't
a-
a whole lot of a kitchen. But like Jason said, it was a
Yeah.
great adventure rig. It was perfect for Baja to Alaska. If you have been listening to the podcast throughout 2024, you know that it wasn't so great when we went and took our big summer trip for 6 weeks this summer, because it wasn't that kind of adventure. It was a little bit more like, wow, it'd be really great if when it's super humid outside or pouring down rain, we had a little bit more space in here to all spread out and be able to, enjoy our time inside the RV and not feel so claustrophobic. So over the course of 2024, we have been really actively talking and looking for a new RV.
Yeah, we had really been wanting something like a mid-size fifth wheel. We've talked about this a lot. A mid-size fifth wheel that would be really comfortable for our 3 kids.
And we got close a couple of times.
Yeah.
But the thing that always ended up tripping us up with the mid-size fifth wheel was the sleeping space for the kids.
And also, like, when you take that sleeping space, then you have no living room space, like none.
Yeah. And I would say that prior to our summer trip, we were of kind of one mindset about what we wanted.
Mm-hmm.
When we came back from our summer trip, we were in a very different mind space of what we wanted. And that was because I think that trip was the first time that we were realizing that the season of Baja to Alaska type travel is on the shelf for a while. And the season of travel that we're going back into is going to look a little bit more, I think, more like what we were doing in 2021 into 2022, that we still wanted to go. And if you watched our 2025 travel plans episode, you know that we're going to some really incredible spaces, but those are places, a lot of them are some places we've been to. We kind of have a feel for how this all goes. We kind of know this jam a little bit, right? Like it's a little bit more familiar territory for us, a little less boondocking, a little less off the grid. And so we really had a shift. And that was in concert with talking to the boys as well. And then you and I realizing we wanted something different.
That really happened, though, through the course of this process, though. It didn't happen early on. So how this transpired is early on this year, I think actually back at Tampa.
Yeah.
In January, our friends at Sabre, who we were in the Sabre 37 FLL. We were brand ambassadors for Sabre. And we loved that rig. That was the fifth wheel we had before the Ibex. And they had hinted to us, didn't hint, they outright said, look, we'd love to get you back in a Sabre. And we would keep saying, you don't have something that is right for us. And they kept saying, well, then you need to design one.
They got really close with their 30-foot fifth wheel that has come out. That is a great design for a 30-foot fifth wheel. It is not designed really, though, for us when it comes to the kind of sleeping spaces we need for the boys, that we wanted for the boys. We felt like that this was maybe stretching it a little too much like going back to the Ibex. If our kids had been younger, we'd be in that in a heartbeat. So we started talking to them as we were continuing to kind of...
We were looking still. We were
continuing to still look.
Very close to moving into a rig from a different brand that had 3 sleeping spaces, because we had a big goal, and that was to have sleeping spaces for our 3 kids that were adult size.
Yeah.
And comfortable spaces. So not just bunks that convert from a dinette, and can actually have a mattress on the place, and a place for them to have all their individual stuff, and a place where they don't argue with each other because they're not crawling over the top of each other. Those were some of our sort of goals that we were looking at. Right?
Absolutely.
And we thought we had found something, but it turned out the The length of the bunk was just, and that was always the thing we kept running into. The length of the bunks never worked, even for Henry.
Yeah.
Even for Henry.
Or they'd be at the weird angle where you are forced to kind of stay with the teddy bear mattress.
Yeah,
and that is never going to work.
Where you've got the bunk like so close to the ceiling that you can't put a thicker mattress on. That was really important to us because we remember back when we had the Pioneer travel trailer, we first put the kids in that, and all three of them, like the first 2 nights, were like, my back hurts so bad.
Even like tiny little 5-year-old Henry was like,
my back hurts.
More in a moment, but first, this episode is sponsored by our friends over at RVmattress.com by Brooklyn Bedding. If you're looking for a new mattress for your RV and you're trying to fit all those odd sizes, the camper king size, which is in between a queen and a king, or the short king and short queen because you got a shorter bed platform, or weird different bunk sizes, you can find them over at RVmattress.com by Brooklyn Bedding. Brooklyn Bedding is a real mattress company that makes all kinds of mattresses for your home and more, but they have this special portal called RVmattress.com where you can find all these specific sizes for your RV, and they are great. We have them in both of our RVs and in our home. You just get them sent to you wherever you are. You open up the box, you let them expand, and Bob's your uncle. You're sleeping on your new mattress that night. RVmattress.com offers a 120-night sleep trial. Their mattresses are toxin-free, and they're shipped to you wherever you are from their factory in Arizona. You can get 30% off your next purchase over at RVmattress.com/RVmiles using the code RVmiles at checkout. RVmattress.com/RVmiles with code RVmiles at checkout.
You start talking to them. We're looking at some other rigs. We're getting there. And then they come back and they say, do you want to design something? Tell us what you want. Like, what do you want? And our relationship with Sabre was really good when we were in the 37 FLL. They were very respectful of what we do here at RV Miles, which we understand can be very difficult for some brands because we report the news. And that is incredibly important to us, that we have the professionalism and the respect to know from whoever we're working with that we are always going to be fair and honest in what we report in the news, but that we need to be able to report the news.
If something bad happens at the company, Sabre is a division of Forest River, which is a very, very big RV manufacturer. And if something bad happens at one of Sabre's brands, we have to be able to report that news. It's not that we're going to, have some flagrant opinions about it, but if things happen in the news, we've got to be able to report it, right?
But it's a mutual respect.
Yeah.
They had that respect for us and for what we do here at RV Miles when we were in the 37 FLL. And they have continued even past us being brand ambassadors and now coming back into what is really a partnership more than just being brand ambassadors. So this is a true partnership with Sabre now. And they continue to have that respect for what we do and how we do it. And so when they came to us with that, it was a little bit of a no-brainer for us because we had this developed relationship with them. We'd already been in one of their rigs that we had been very happy with. We loved the 37 FLL. We really, when we talk to, for Ethan, that is the highlight of his travel time was when he was in that 37 FLL.
But that, sort of like coming back and talking to the kids about that comes a little bit later, because what really happened early on through this process of working with Sabre, we said, yes, let's do this. Let's figure something out. And then it was on us to really start to just sketch out some ideas. And
they gave us really just kind of free reign, like go and put together, here's everything we have, go create.
This is where we learned a lot about the RV design process,
and that'll be its whole other episode later on down the line.
Suffice it to say, though, a lot of us have a lot of opinions about how RVs are designed and that we can do it better. And let me just tell you, it's not as easy as you think. Well, and there's a whole lot. There's if you put the fridge here, that makes everything else fall into place in different ways. You have to have X, Y, Z. You want slides that are across from each other. They have to be able to close. Like there's all sorts of stuff like that we learned. Early on, we thought, okay, we can come up with this idea that we want a mid-sized fifth wheel that fits our kids comfortably. Mm-hmm. and is something that is a little bit easier to get around in than our other big 43-foot fifth wheel. But through the design process, we learned, you know what? It's not that that can't be done. We actually drew up lots of great floor plans that will be great for somebody, I think. But we also learned a lot about what we actually want out of an RV. And what Abby was alluding to earlier is that we talked to the kids and asked them, like, you know, what do you like? What are you having? And they, you know, hands down were happiest in the bigger fifth wheel, where they had space to be away from each other, and they had space to spread
for us all to be together, but not feel like we're.
That's a big important thing, because so many of these big fifth wheels have this space for you to be apart, especially if it's like a 2-bedroom. But then the living room space is nothing, right?
Right.
It's 3-seater sofa for 5 people, and that just doesn't work.
No. And so in concert with them, and then continuing, so throughout, we've been at this for a while now. So
we've been legitimately designing it for about 6 months, I'd say. So we just sort of started the conversations about a year ago, but we've really been working hard on this for about 6 months and going through a process of like, here's some sketches, but then here's some sketches that go to engineers, and then the engineers come back and we think we've designed something that's 34 feet long and it's 40 foot long.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, what if we're already 40? Why are we even trying to cut it shorter, right?
Yeah. So through that process and through the countless sketches that were going to them, we were starting to see that, okay, there are some things here that we can compromise on for sure. Here are the things that we can't compromise on. And what ended up happening, I think the thing that really turned all of this on its heels for us was when Jason went to open house back in September.
Yeah.
So in September, and maybe you have seen this on social media now because they're starting to roll this out. I've seen a few, like Lippert's done something on it, and I think Sabre has as well. But when Jason went to open house, he calls me, and he's with Shirley. And Shirley Cartwright is who we've been working with as part of the team over at Sabre. And we're going to have her on the show here in the future and kind of talk through the whole process of working together. She's a beautiful human being. And they call me, they FaceTime me, and they're like, we have to show you. Shirley's like, I need you to see this. I have to show this to you. And they proceed to show me this sun deck. It's this sun deck that will come off the camp side of the rig that generally is going to get positioned into the living room. It's going to come off of the rig, and it is unlike any other deck or porch you have ever seen, because what happens, first off, it's automated. So you press a button and it comes up. But when it comes up to come flush
to close,
when it comes up to close, to be flush with the rig, what happens is, rather than that just becoming an entire flat paneled wall, the railing of all of it is glass. And when that comes up, that glass turns into your windows inside your rig. So not only do you continue to have what is so vital and important to me in my RV is natural light, abundance of natural light. You now have the option that you get to keep that light, whether or not you don't have to have the porch down. So if it's windy or you're just stopping for a night, you don't have to put it down, but you have all these windows, all this beautiful light, or you get to put this porch down, which isn't super big, so it's not going to take up all your campsite.
Yeah, it doesn't go all. So you might have seen before.
It's like a little patio.
There are porches that come off the side of fifth wheels often that are sort of the same thing as the rear ramp on a toy hauler. They just sort of move that to the side of the RV, and that's fine. That's really cool. We've seen that, and we've been interested in that. But the problem with that often is it takes up so much of the campsite, and sometimes that's not possible in certain campsites. So you might have to leave it closed. So what was so great about this is it's something we can have open or closed. But when it is open, you get a triple sliding glass door, so you get giant window view outside. So it's not something that is necessary. You know,
No.
we could have done something. We could have built a fifth wheel that only had the necessities, but it was something that was exciting to us because we love that view from that side, that back quadrant of
Mhm.
a fifth wheel is usually where your best view is of a campsite.
But what we loved was that we can also press a button, and that is going to, once you've gone out there and you've unlocked it and stuff, you have a couple things you have to do first, but then you just press a button and the bulk of the work is then done on a hydraulic lift.
Yeah.
And
so
that is like,
yeah,
that's great.
So we'll
I love that.
We're not going to get into all the details of what this rig
No.
looks like on this episode because we're going to be debuting it soon. We'll talk about that in a minute. But we centered sort of the design around this deck, but there were several things that were important to us that we accomplished.
Well, I should say that phone call is where I was going and talking about all that. When I saw that, when you guys demonstrated
sort of some stuff in.
Yeah, that when you demonstrated that for me.
Still thought maybe we could get it under 40 foot.
Just a lot. And I said, I was in it on that. That was for me, I had locked in on that patio, and you came back from open house and I said, we have to go back to the drawing board. We have to figure out a way to incorporate this patio because it's such an amazing component of being able to, again, bring the outside inside and having that thing that I have been missing and longing for this entire year that we've been in the apartment has been the feeling of the outside inside. And this patio really spoke to me. So we go back to the drawing board. We're working up again, trying to figure some things out. Now we're thinking, okay, now we can get to, 39 feet. Okay, we can live with 39 feet.
And it kept coming in at
right. That's going to
42, 43.
That's going to stay within the specs of the truck because, we have the F-250. So we were
trying to meet a pin weight.
We were trying to meet a pin weight because that's very important and you have to stay with that. And so here we are, we're trying to meet a pin weight and we keep going and we finally, it gets to a point in the conversation where Shirley says, in concert with talking to the engineers, we've two options here. We can get this to under 40, but we have to lose the patio, or we're looking at 4211. We've got the patio. We will do whatever you guys want. This is your decision. And if we had gone and taken the patio off, the F-250 and all of that would have worked.
Kind of.
Maybe.
We would have lost living room space as well. We would have lost other things.
We would have had to sacrifice. It wasn't just the patio. There was a lot of other things we were going to have to kind of let go of that we had sort of fallen in love with. I say this is like designing a home, right? Yeah. It's always one thing in your mind and then you get going into it. And I've never designed a home, so I don't know, but I imagine this is what it's like.
It was also a process of like, there are some things here that buyers are going to want that we'd be fine with not having. Like we would have been fine not having a kitchen table, period. No dining space at all. But we're not dumb. We know buyers in general want that. And that's got to be there, right?
Yeah. And that has always been in the back of our mind because this isn't just for us.
Yeah.
This will be sold and available to anyone else who would like to come see it. It will be on dealer lots. So there was that component too, where we were designing for ourselves, but we also wanted to design, if we're going to go into this world of like the kind of bigger fifth wheel, then we want to go into the world of that buyer and what do they like, but how can we also give it the feel of a Jason and Abby designed rig?
Basically, what we ended up designing is something that would have been great for us as a full-time family. Back when we got into the FLL, which was a great rig, but the second loft in that rig ended up being too small for Henry after he grew a bit.
Yeah.
And this is sort of the next sort of iteration for us of like, what would have been perfect for us then? And we got to thinking about our plans for next year. We're like, well, we're on the road for 2 months. How is that any different than full-timing? Really? Like you're on the road long enough that you're doing laundry and you're out there doing the thing. You're living your life as you were at home. So let's make this a home that's comfortable to be in for whether you're full-time or not.
So we said to them, give us a couple days to think about this because really this is going to come down to a move that we have to make that we feel kind of, we're like, this is going to come down to the truck. And are we going to seem like just absolute idiots if we go do the thing we know we need to go do. And so we went and did the thing that we needed to do. And a few weeks ago, we traded in the F-250 and got an F-350.
So for those of you that haven't been listening and haven't heard the whole backstory,
to
this, we had bought a new truck just this summer. We had issues with our old truck. We loved our old F-350. It had some issues. We traded it in for a diesel 250. Now,
while we were in Savannah, Georgia, on vacation,
yes. Big vacation, and had there been a 350 on that lot that was not a dually, I might have gotten one then.
Yeah,
but we were still in this mindset of, well, we're just going to a medium-sized fifth wheel. It's not going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
So, but over time we also never fell in love with that truck.
It was our
kind
truck.
of A, it was a little too expensive. B, it had all the bells and whistles, had like all these features that were like, yeah, they're nice, but like it just didn't sit with us.
It didn't feel like a truck that we would RV in. And so our decision was look, there was a truck we wanted to go look at, and we said, if we can make a complete and total lateral move, like that, this is not going to change where we are at, like with the budget that we have set up, then why are we stressing about how silly we might look to people because we do this?
It ended up not being that big of a deal. So
no, it was exactly it was meant to be. We literally traded in that truck, wiped all of that clear, and still got this one and had to put nothing down for it. Didn't have to.
Our
nothing.
payments are pretty close to the same. It's a newer truck. So that the old one was it was like it was a dealer loaner vehicle. It had 4,000 miles on it and was a 2023. So now we have a 2024. This one is the high output diesel F-350 instead of the regular diesel. And it's a long bed. This is our first long bed, and kind of loving the long bed so far.
I'm back and forth.
But the long bed ended up giving us a decent amount of payload, because one of the reasons we were in the gas truck for the first Sabre fifth wheel is that the gas trucks have a lot more payload. Mm-hmm. But having the long bed, we get a lot more payload. Mm-hmm. We basically have the same payload as our gas truck, so plenty of additional room, and we get the 48-gallon fuel tank.
Oh,
which has been phenomenal, and we haven't even been towing with the thing yet.
It's been so sweet when you fill up and it's like 1,000 miles to empty, and you're just like, what?
And
am I driving a Toyota Corolla? What is this?
This one's a 2024 and it's brand new. And this was hard because I was searching the country. I had to open up where I was looking for trucks across the country, because I very specifically had come to the decision that we were going to get a long bed, but not a dually F-350 diesel. And that is very, very hard to find on dealer lots. It just so happened that I went to a dealer lot. We were to the point we were going to order one.
Yeah, until they told us it would be 6 to 8 months before we got the truck.
But the thing about ordering one is we could have only gotten the features that we wanted and not overpaid for stuff we didn't want. So this truck had almost everything we wanted. The only thing that it doesn't have that I wish it had was adaptive cruise control. Fine. We'll
be
deal with
okay.
that.
We'll be okay.
I definitely wanted to have 360 cameras, and really that was about it. Like,
we wanted all of the things that we needed to make our RV experience a comfortable one and a safe one. And this truck ticked all of those boxes. And when he called me and he told me that there was nothing extra was coming out of our bank account, I said, this is it. This is meant to be. This is what we're supposed to be doing. This is, for me, the moment I was waiting for that told me that this fifth wheel, that this choice that we have been struggling and agonizing and thinking about constantly for almost a year is the right choice. And I got to tell you, if you're watching this, the truck is behind us right now a little bit. You can
really
see
see
it. It's just
it's also black now. We have a black truck
black.
instead of the
It's
last
great.
two were both gray.
We're thinking about this is a real deep cut, but we had talked about naming it like Vader or either something Darth Vader. And I'm not going to say why, but Ethan says and we've pretty much named it Matt.
I don't think we were there yet.
Ethan and I are there. And if you know why,
nobody's going to know why. Nobody is going to.
I believe somebody out there knows why. There is a connection for us calling it Matt that you can draw a line back to Star Wars. And you got to figure out how you get from one to the other. I give that challenge out to you. Just put it out there on YouTube. You're going to get your answer.
So we made that decision. We went and got the truck. We called up Sabre and said, we got the truck. Let's a go.
Do it.
Let's do it. We could have kept working on a design. We could have kept figuring something out, but we had come up with something that we liked so much and that they liked so much that they were like, look, we're going to sell this, whether this ends up being your unit or not. So you can decide to be in this and still work on something else for you, but we're going to make this thing.
We love it so much.
Because it's so great. It is a wonderful bunkhouse with a flex room that could be an office for somebody. It's got a big L-shaped sofa. It's got this big deck. It has road access to the kitchen and the bathroom and the front bedroom when you're driving and stopping at a rest area and want to make lunch, all that sort of stuff. A lot of the things that we were really looking for, and we can't wait to show it to you. We're getting to see it in 2 days. They've been building the prototype. This won't be the unit that we end up with, but they've been building the prototype in Elkhart, and we're heading up there in 2 days with the kids to go see what they've done.
And they have been really wonderful in the sense of thinking about us. So this is a 43-foot fifth wheel. I think it's 4211 is where it's going to finally come in at. We couldn't be more excited. And the journey from starting at thinking we wanted a 30-foot fifth wheel to where we're at now with this 4211 feels like that was the journey we needed to make in order to understand that this is where we needed to be right now. Yeah. And I think that there was a little bit of this is what Jason and Abby want in the 30-foot, but it's not always, and we've always said, full-time RVing in general, this is a family decision. We all have to be embracing this. There's 5 of us that live together, not just Jason and I. And so I think that is why we're here with this 4211 fifth wheel, because our kids,
what the kids will want and what the buyer will want, and you know, lots of different things.
What I want, I mean,
it's also very, very. It fits so well in the Sabre lineup. They've become known for some of these really innovative new floor plans. They're not a manufacturer that makes a ton of floor plans. They make like 8 to 10, and that's it. So they focus very specifically on, they don't do different colors. They use the same appliances in all of them. In fact, all of them pretty much have the same bedroom, bathroom in the front. And so it's a very regimented factory, which we love. And
we really
works with it.
We love the people that are there building and being able to talk to them and to the plant manager and just have their input. And they have come up, you know, the engineer would come back and he would kind of come back with some ideas. And it was always, because the bunk room was really where there was a lot of discussion. And that was probably the biggest hurdle for all of us to try and figure out. And in the end, we made a few compromises in there while adding a few things to it that really created a space that we felt like would serve us not just for like this season or next, but for the many seasons going forward when maybe there's just 4 of us out on the road.
Yeah.
And so they come back and they're thinking about our kids and what our kids are interested in. And they have created things in there that our boys I'm so excited to show it to them. We haven't told them really.
Yeah, you actually haven't seen a lot. I've seen a little bit of it, of the bunk room
I haven't
built
seen
on
anything.
a mocked up of the mock up. So this is not the version that they have built now in this prototype, but I saw a mock up. So they start on the on the floor in their sick bay, which they call it, where they if an RV needs some extensive repair, they have a sick bay for that. So in this sick bay room, they were mocking up the floor plan at floor level before building up the prototype, and the plant manager is then was mocking it up. Is coming up with so many unique and interesting ideas, and we're working with them, bouncing back ideas back and forth, and we've come up with something that we think is going to be great. So we get to go see it in 2 days.
Yeah.
That prototype, we're going to give them some feedback on any things that we might want to change on it. But that prototype will also be at the Florida RV Super Show in Tampa in January.
So you
we'll
can
get
come see
to
it.
debut it to the public, and it's going to be called the Sabre 37 RV Miles. The model number has our name on it, which is so great. It's like, the official government like submitted model number. And you'll get to give any feedback you have. And then the second unit they build is going to be our unit. And that is going to be sort of the final one for this model year. And then of course for the model year, hopefully it does well, it sells, and we will refine it and do some new things to it for 2026. But they've already have some dealers that have just sight unseen ordered it. So we're so very excited to debut this. We are going to be at the Tampa show at the beginning of the show. So if you want to come see us, regardless, come see the unit, see all the other units, all the other brands there and everything. We're going to, do our same reporting we do there every year, but we're going to be also, hanging out with our unit and showing it off to people. We're going to be there on the first 2 days. What are the dates?
Wednesday and Thursday. So that's going to be, I believe, the 15th and 16th of January. So we're going to be with the unit for a few hours every day, and then we'll be walking around the exhibit as well, doing our work for the news video and for an upcoming podcast episode. But if you would like to come and get a tour of the 37 RV miles, hear us talk to you about why we did some of the things that we did, please come and see us on Wednesday and Thursday. We'll have more information about that. So just make sure you're checking back on rvmiles.com or across social media. Because once we have those hours locked in, and I think we're going to do like 4-hour blocks. Once we have that kind of locked in, then we will go ahead and share a little bit more information. But when you said 37 RV miles, I am still like just in shock. Like if you're watching this, you see I got really kind of emotional about that, because there's a lot of responsibility that comes with having something named after your business, after you. And there's a lot, this feels like we have a child that we are about to release out into the world to go off and make its own way a little bit. And that is really exciting and really scary at the same time. And we are so honored and so humbled by the fact that Sabre would trust us to be able to create something that they felt would be something more than just Jason and Abby would want, that have the potential that other RVers, but then to not, because I just thought it'd end up being called like 37 RVM or something, like just really, like not super obvious.
Yeah.
And it was Sabre that wanted to call it the 37 RV miles.
Why not?
And we were just like, okay. And, then even so much, so there'll be little details about us in this rig when you buy it. Right by the door, there's going to be a sticker that'll say, keep logging those RV miles, like, which is wild. Cause I still remember the day we were just driving around in the car trying to come up with what we want to call ourselves. And then inside there will be details, little things that, there will be a coffee bar. There will be things that are important to us. And then every person who purchases a 37 RV miles is going to have an opportunity to get a little extra from us as well. We're going to have a very special page that those owners get to go to where they will have a free mile marker membership waiting for them that will then unlock all kinds of aftermarket discounts with brands that we are working with that are excited to be a part of the 37 RV miles, and in addition want to offer discounts in their services to any of the other buyers. There's things that we're trying to do to, make this you don't have to know who we are to want to buy it.
Exactly.
But at the same time, if you do know who we are and you do buy it,
you get a little,
we get to have a connection with you because we want a connection with everyone.
We're going to have an owner's Facebook group and stuff like that.
We want to connect with those people and learn from them as well and find out what is and maybe isn't working for them, so that as we continue on this journey of, and I hope that this isn't the last time we have an opportunity, especially as maybe our family gets smaller through the years, to continue to go back and look at designing a fifth wheel. But this is thrilling, and that we get to see it with our own eyes for the first time in just a couple of days, and then we get to share it with all of you in Tampa.
If you're not going to be in Tampa, of course, we are going to do a full tour of it while we are there. So we'll put that on YouTube. So there'll be a full video tour of it that anybody can see, and then we're going to be doing all sorts of content related to it over the course of the next year.
Everybody.
We're going to do, outfitting the kitchen, setting up, getting because we got rid of all of our fifth wheel stuff.
We did. I mean, and then we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff that, the solar we're putting on it. Of course, our friends over at RV Mattress are going to be helping us put new mattresses into the rig. There's a lot of things like that we're going to be doing. And then we get to take it out on the road. That trip we're starting in April, that will be with the 37 RV miles. If you come to the High Desert Hangout in Utah, or you come to Homecoming this year, it's going to be there. The 37 RV miles is going to be there. And, it is so thrilling that we will get to share this with so many of you, because this rig would not exist if it wasn't for all of you and for the gift that you give us every single time you hit play, or you turn on YouTube, or you go on our social medias, or you go over to our website. If you didn't do those things, then there would be no 37 RV miles. So we're just so honored we get to share this with all of you. So thank you for that.
So we'll see you in Tampa if you're going to be there.
Yes, come to Tampa.
Otherwise, watch this space, and we'll have all the information coming out on the YouTube channel here soon in the very near future.
Yeah. And if you have any questions for us, leave them down in the comments, because of course we want to make sure we try to answer all of those. Maybe we'll answer them on a future episode. But if there are things you want to know about this process and you want to ask us, we would love to try and answer those for you.
So this is probably a good point to say we will only have one more episode this year. It will be after Christmas. We're taking a little time off for Christmas. We'll do one episode between Christmas and New Year's. The news videos too are done for the year. So the one that is coming out. Yeah, I don't know if this episode is coming out before it, but there's
who wins the editing process.
But there's one more episode that has been just recorded that is coming out, and it will be the last one of the year. So we hope you all have a fantastic holiday. But be with us for that last episode, but we're going to take a little time off.
All right, so it is time to do a little pivot and check the level of our tanks, which is sponsored by our friends over at Liquefied RV Toilet Treatment. And hey, if you didn't know, well, now you're about to, but Liquefied is giving away an RV. Boy, is this an RV heavy episode of an RV podcast. They are giving away an Alliance Delta for free. There is absolutely no purchase necessary to enter to win.
You can enter for free by completing a survey over on their website. They also have other ways that you get additional entries. If you buy some Liquefied, you get additional entries and stuff like that. But if you head over to liquefiedrv.com, we've got a link actually in the description that takes you straight to the giveaway as well. But liquefiedrv.com if you want to buy some Liquefied, or if you want to find the chance to enter.
And read all of the rules, the rules, and make sure you're, over the age of 18.
US
US
and Canada
Canadian,
residents.
But
There's
they can't ship it.
Yeah.
So, that's a little expensive to ship an RV. So there's a few things in there, but it's super cool. I do believe this is going all the way until May.
Yeah, it's till May.
So you've got plenty of time and plenty of ways to enter. So
But
just head over. Yeah, head over to liquefiedrv.com.
They're probably going to have many ways that you can gain additional entries over that time. So start now.
Yeah. Good luck, everyone. All right, Jay, what is your black tank this week?
My black tank is okay. So there's this whole drone thing going on, right?
Oh man, New Jersey, you're giving me life right now.
It's not just New Jersey, okay? It's all across the country now.
But
here's the problem. Like, look, the original drone sightings, I don't know anything about those.
Not here to comment.
If they were a real thing or not, or if it's like, China, some government agency, it's the US, whatever it is. But what I can tell you is the stuff that I have seen posted all around the internet in the days since is just people that own drones out there wanting you to take pictures of them. Because if the government or some other rogue government is flying drones in our country, I guarantee you they don't have little red and green lights on them, right? Those are drones that people bought at Best Buy.
Jason,
okay. And
Joe
I've got
Rogan
one.
is concerned. Okay.
I've got one. I can go fly it and make you take pictures of it now. There's not some wide. You know what this is? This is the modern version of the crop circles. Do you remember the crop circles? You
so
see a
good.
crop circle in the middle, and then it got all kinds of news notoriety. And it turned out to be just some kids that were, out in a field. They take a rope, somebody stands at the center, and then they all walk in a circle as the rope goes around and make a perfect circle. Well, kids across the country without the internet figured this out. And crop circles took over the nation.
Listen, crop circles are why one of my all-time favorite movies exists. Signs. M. Night Shyamalan. That movie is so good. When he's like, just swing away, Meryl.
Again,
swing away.
I'm not saying the original drones weren't like a real concern. Might be a concerning thing. Don't know. Would really love to know the details about that. The FAA should have that information because like when you fly your drone, if you have a commercial drone, when you fly it, they know you're up there.
I cannot wait for M. Night to turn this into a movie. It's coming. I believe it. And it's gonna be up there with one that I love.
If you see a drone in your neighborhood, and don't go shoot it down. Good Lord. That's happening
let's
too.
Let's not do that.
Yes.
Oh, I mean, look, I'm not, like we said, not here to comment on why the drones are out there, but I will say that there's been some really great content that's coming up. There's some good content. There's some good content coming out of all of this. So that doesn't really sound like a black tank to me, but I mean, I guess the fever and the pitch.
I mean, I will say the black part of it is I think it is ridiculous that people are doing this copycat stuff now where they're out there flying their drones trying to drum up concern with people.
It's like
it's
the
stupid.
People that outed the actor at Disney recently who plays Tally the elf in the parade.
Yeah,
like they doxed him because
addressed to the internet and stuff.
And then they all, other people start showing up to try and like get this viral video by calling out his real name.
That's what you're seeing now is people trying
like
to make viral videos.
It's awful. I like it.
I would bet that if you see a drone in the air at night, it is probably the person flying it taking the video to try to get some social notoriety over it.
Yeah, look, RV Miles is going to have to fly a drone soon to do some like drone shots of the 37 RV Miles fifth wheel. If you see that, please don't shoot us down. Okay, just trying to do our job. All right, what's in your fresh tank this week?
My fresh tank is a video game. I have been playing with Henry that just came out. It's Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I think it's in the Great Circle, something like that. Whatever. It's the new Indiana Jones game that's out, and I have like fallen in love with like first person video games again. Been a very long time since I've played that type of video game, and I am having a blast. Just me and Henry taking turns playing this game. It starts off. It's a totally new. What's great is that it's a totally new story in the Indiana Jones universe. It takes place at least where we are at this point. we're not that far into the game, so it might end up being terrible later. I don't know. But it takes place mostly at the Vatican, where there's something going on at the Vatican during, the rise of the Nazis.
Mm-hmm.
But the game starts with a flashback, Indy's having a dream. So you learn, how a lot of video games have like the first level you play is like kind of teaching you how to use the controls and all that. Well, it's where you're like going to get the idol and trading it for the sandbag thing, and then there's all the booby traps and
big old boulder.
You're running out behind the big old boulder. Like he's having a dream, and so you get to play that. And I had chills playing that scene. It's
really
so
beautiful.
It
looks
gorgeous.
It looks real,
and a lot of real acting. Real voice actors and real motion capped actors performing a lot of the cutscene stuff, and not just cutscene stuff, just characters you walk by, they're talking and stuff instead of just like, words on the screen, which is fantastic.
Yeah, more of that, please. It looks like a lot of fun. You guys seem to be having a good time.
All right, what's in your black tank this week?
So my black tank is, if you've noticed, we were not here last weekend, and that is because after the last episode, I was like, we got to be done. I'm not feeling great. Show over. And I went home and promptly went into bed right after we got done filming 344. And I ended up having strep. And I've never had strep throat before. That is the worst. That is awful. Today is the first day, and even now I can still feel I don't have much left in this voice before it goes. I was without a voice, which was why we could not do an episode didn't come out last weekend, because I lost my voice. I have never had a throat hurt so bad to the point where it was tears in my eyes trying to swallow because the pain was so awful. I was in bed. I had body aches and fever. And then I developed this cough that just is ripping my chest apart. And I'm just like miserable.
It's a miracle that I didn't get it. But lesson learned. A
miracle.
You should have been to the doctor way sooner and been on antibiotics way sooner, and it would have been better. But
maybe. But like, even still, I'm on day 6 of antibiotics. And I still have a sore throat. Like I am still, like my energy level is still really down. This is just one of those. And my doctor was telling me, this is just one of those that really hangs on, even long after, because I really stopped being contagious a couple of days. Like my contagion level went way, way down once the fever was gone. Mm-hmm. It's just one of those things that like, even though you are okay to kind of return to society, you're on the antibiotics, you're doing everything you need to do, you can go back to kind of as much as you can normal life. It is killer. It is just killer for my body to get through this. And, even right now, I'm just, this whole hour, I've been trying so hard not to cough, so hard not to get caught up in like my voice to go down in my deeper register. And so, listen, there's a lot of gunk out there right now. I know in our community, we have strep and walking pneumonia. Those are the 2 biggest ones right now. There's a lot of gunk going on right now. We're all going to be getting together with family for the holidays. So, just do what you can, friends, to take care of yourself. Keep your hands washed, take your vitamins. If you're starting to feel sick and you're really starting to feel sick like I was, please go to the doctor. Let them help you if they can, and then just rest as much as humanly possible. I am not one, to admit I'm sick. So for me to have said to him, I got to go home and go to bed.
I got allergies.
No, that's not what I say.
No,
Stop it.
You do. My allergies are really acting up for 7 days straight.
Well, sometimes they are, Jason. Mm-hmm. Seasonal allergies are tough.
Yeah, that fever caused by the allergy.
But I am not one to normally spend as much time in bed as I have spent over almost the last 12 days. So it's been tough. So please just take care of yourself. It's going to be a rough, I think, cold and flu season.
What's your fresh take?
Okay, my fresh tank. This is like, I told you when I was going to bring this up that I was really going way outside of the realm of what we normally talk about. But I am giving my fresh tank to the Muppets. And we need to talk about this. We're all coming up in a period where we're going to have some downtime, right? Like we don't have a lot going on. Maybe we get to just be a little bit more chill. Maybe we get to get caught up on some things we haven't watched in a long time. Friends, go revisit the Muppets. Go revisit Kermit and Miss Piggy and Fonzie Bear and like Animal.
Whoa.
Fozzie.
Whoa.
Sorry, Fozzie.
Whoa.
What?
You like, have you even watched the Muppets ever? Who are you? Fonzie.
I just got, it's like I said the other night. What did I say? Strategery? When I was trying to say.
You didn't even say strategery, which is a great joke from SNL. You said something in between strategy and
strategery. I think I said.
I don't know what you said.
I didn't even know I had said it.
It was out there.
I flew right through it, and you were the one that called me back, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" I said strategic.
Did you know what you just said? Yeah.
Yeah. So,
do you know that there is a version of the board game Clue with the Muppets now?
No, but we need it. And where I'm going with this is, so obviously Muppets Christmas Carol, chef's kiss.
The best.
So good.
Best.
Listen, I mean, Michael Caine, he is dialing the performance of a lifetime. That man, he wanted that Oscar nomination. Oh, but Muppets Most Wanted is so much fun. I mean, the Muppet movie. I mean, there's just. I
recently watched, so it just came out, Ron Howard's documentary on Jim Henson.
Yeah.
So I just watched that the other day, and.
Oh, it tore you up.
That had me.
You were a sad human.
Well, I mean,
came into the bedroom.
I mean, he died of not a brain infection. He died of an infection, which, I had my brain infection. I'm prone to infection. So. And he died at 53, and like I'm not there yet, but like
stop, don't manifest it.
When you think of like what somebody like that is done by the age they're 53, and how much more they could have done going forward, right? So
well, and a lot of this too is coming on the heels of obviously they're like closing the whole Muppet section at Hollywood Studios at Walt Disney World, which is very sad. There's nothing better than when like Sam the Eagle is like, what is the line? It's something like
a tribute to all countries, but mostly America.
Mostly America. Okay. I really relate to, I have just kindred spirit with Miss Piggy. Like she's so good. So there's just a lot. This is a really, the Muppets are so much joy and they really get to tap into some beautiful sort of commentary, and I love them. And this time of year, when we all have an opportunity maybe to slow down a little bit and take in a few movies, like I just want to remind everyone that the Muppets are out there.
Muppets Christmas Carol it's just got to be high up on your
and everyone list. Can enjoy them from, for all of us who grew up with the Muppets, there's that nostalgia kind of attached to it, right? And then we've introduced it to a whole new generation, to our children and their attachment to it. I mean, Muppets Most Wanted, they love that. And then the song from the first movie, the Moving Right Along, yeah, that's like a road trip song for us. It's just, anyway.
Rainbow Connection, It's Not Easy Being Green, some good songs. But you really want to watch something good though. In the Muppet Jim Henson world, watch some old episodes of Fraggle Rock.
Oh my gosh, Fraggle Rock is so good. I mean, there's even like Muppet Treasure Island. There's the Haunted Mansion Muppets. Like
Jim Henson created Fraggle Rock because he wanted to create a show to end wars.
I loved Fraggle Rock.
I loved
Down in Fraggle Rock.
Particularly loved it because didn't have HBO. It was on HBO, and then you could only watch it when it was like the free weekend of HBO that happened like twice a year.
Oh, so good. So good. So, go and enjoy a little bit of Jim Henson's amazing creativity over the holiday season, and just chill out with the Muppets.
That's it for this week's episode of the RV Miles podcast.
Yes, it is. Thank you so much for joining us. And as a reminder, the High Desert Hangout is happening May 1st through the 4th. Just go over to rvmiles.com/hangout Utah and then go and take advantage of that free 1-month trial of our mile marker membership. You can learn more at rvmiles.com/mile markers. And until next time, we wish you a most happy holiday. Please, friends, wash those hands, stay healthy, go spend some time with Miss Piggy, and keep logging those 37 RV miles.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.